guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Trisha Penn. I'm a licensed real estate agent in New York City, and I also write a fashion, food, and lifestyle blog called feastandfashion.com. Here on Feast and Fashion TV, we talk about fashion, food, and lifestyle, and of course, real estate. So if you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button. Make sure you hit that notification button so you know when these videos drop, and be sure to give this video a huge thumbs up. Welcome back to Vlogmas. I took a couple days off, but I promise I'm making it up to you guys. I'm gonna do a few videos this week, a few more than just once a day, so that I can make up some of the days. But I think today is like Vlogmas day 16, even though today is the 21st. But anywho, we digress. I have a really cool video for you guys today, as the title suggests. This is some of my suggestions for some great secondhand, thrift, whatever you'd like, vintage shopping in New York City. I got this idea for this video from one of my colleagues, Kiana girl, thank you. She watched one of my videos about my coat collection, and heard that I've mentioned that I get a lot of clothes, a lot of coats, vintage or secondhand. So she had a really cool idea that I should, share some of the places that I shop myself, or some of my pieces. And why not? Like, it's such a good idea. So I'm here to share with you guys some really great, some of them are really great price point places. Some of them on a little higher end side, but all good and all have a great selection of clothing and homeware and all that good stuff. So I'm gonna dive right into this list, and the first place on my list is a place called Housing Works. If you are in New York City, I'm sure you have seen one of them, because they have like 9 locations in the city, and if you've never gone into it, you are missing out, because Housing Works is probably out of this list, I would probably say it's my favorite. And the reason why I say it's my favorite is because of the fact that it has these multiple locations. Each location is kind of curated for like the neighborhood that it's in, and I can go into Housing Works in the Upper East Side and find different things that I would find in Housing Works Chelsea, and find different things that I will find in the Housing Works in Soho. So I love this store. One of my favorite things to get from Housing Works is actually home items. I get a lot of home decor items from Housing Works, and I'll show you a little picture here of a tray that I got from there. Like the flowers, it's a picture of flowers, but like the tray that it's on, it was a Housing Works purchase. I've gotten a few different Housing Works pieces, like vintage glass sets and vintage throws. I got a fur rug from Housing Works, so definitely cannot recommend them enough for home items. But also they have a really great selection of clothing items. I have a vintage fur coat from Housing Works. I also have another vintage coat, just like a pea coat from Housing Works, and both of them I love. And the price points are always good. The housing stuff can get a little bit pricey, especially because people in New York tend to donate really good high-end housing pieces. So they know that if you went retail, you would probably pay twice as much as they have it for. So they try to charge you a little bit. But one thing that I really like about Housing Works is that a lot of the proceeds goes to the AIDS work in the LGBT community, which I love. I love that this store also has a philanthropic component to it. So I can't sing the praises of Housing Works enough. I try to go there as much as I can. Obviously during COVID I haven't been as much, but I'm telling you, like, I feel like last year I was in there at least once a week, because I would pass it by when I was showing apartments and stuff, and I'm always like, let me just pop in. And that's how you always find the best pieces, when you just pop into a store and you end up finding a treasure. Like, honestly, this sweater was one of those pop into a vintage store moments. I actually got this in Montreal in Canada, and me and my friends were there for like one of my friend's birthdays, and we were walking in the town and stuff like that, and I saw a vintage shop and I was like, let me just peeked in, found this beautiful, let me stand up so you can kind of see it. It's huge. It's actually a huge sweater, but I love it. It's great for layering. I've layered it with shirts and stuff, but yeah, I'm not talking about the sweater today, but it's just showing you that you can get really great pieces for this is like 15 bucks from secondhand shops when you just pop in sometimes. So definitely, if you can and you have an opportunity, check out Housing Mercs. You can go onto their website, and I'll link that in the description below so you can find that and find their locations. The second one on my list, honestly, is a really great secondhand shop, and it's like a cult favorite. It's probably one of the most famous in the neighborhoods that it's in, and it's L Train Vintage. L Train is the creme de la East Village. Like, everybody in the East Village knows about L Train. It's such a great secondhand shop, and the price points, considering New York City, because I mentioned in that coat video before, is that I do a lot of my thrifting or my secondhand shopping or my vintage shopping in Maryland, where I'm originally from, because there's thrift stores there. They're not very savvy, so they don't know like how they could get more money for the stuff that they sell. So I'll get like blazers and like bomb vintage blazers. I have one that I wear a ton, and I'll show you a picture of it here. It is it is my Ralph Lauren blazer, and every time I wear this blazer, I always get so many compliments on it. I got that at a vintage shop, and that was $10. Honestly, that blazer probably retailed back in the day, or like now times, if you go on Ralph Lauren's website for a Ralph Lauren, not Lauren by Ralph Lauren blazer, they're like $500 and $600. So, and I got it for 10 bucks. So I always talk about how I get things in Maryland, but L Train Vintage actually has very comparable prices to what I find usually when I go shopping in those different shops in Maryland, and that's why I love it. One of my favorite things to get from L Train Vintage are vintage Levi's. They have such a great selection of vintage jeans in general, but I've gotten 3 pairs of great Levi's from there, and I can't sing their praises enough, because like, it's in New York and other stores. There are other vintage stores in New York. I won't name the names because they're not on this list. So, but there's another vintage store in New York, in Soho, particularly, that sells vintage Levi's, and the vintage Levi's there start at like $90. And I'm like, this is vintage, this is secondhand. I know you got this for like $3 upstate New York or down south somewhere, but they want to sell it for $90, and sometimes they don't even touch it. So if you want some vintage Levi's and you want a great price point, you definitely go to L Train Vintage. I find like great stuff there, and they have a really great coat selection. I have found really nice fur coats there. I haven't bought them. I've seen them, but they weren't my size. But they have a really great selection there too. So, and again, at a better price point than some other places that you might find. So that's the second one on my list. The next one on my list, this one is a little bit more of a luxury consignment shop or secondhand shop, and it's called What Goes Around Comes Around, and they are based in Soho. They also sell some of their pieces on Shopbop, so I'll link that below too. So you don't even necessarily have to be in New York to be able to shop them, because they have a store online too. But What Comes Around Goes Around has such a great selection in more particularly vintage or secondhand handbags. They have a Chanel collection that would make you want to cry. And I know this because I've been in there holding the Chanel's like, one day let me get this Chanel bag. But if you are in the market for something like that, like a really unique piece, they also have clothing as well. They have a lot of designer pieces there, so you know, price points are a little higher. They know how much their things are worth. So they definitely will charge you what, you know, the market is right now. But if you are looking for a really unique piece, or pieces that you know were older seasons that you can't find again, they're definitely a great place to go and check out, because like I said, they have a really great selection of that stuff. The next place I want to mention is a Second Chance, and it also is a more of a luxury consignment vintage shop, and they too have a really great selection of like handbags and vintage jewelry. They have multiple locations in the city, but they, again, like I said, they have whoever curates these stores are amazing. I know that they scour probably the world to find like some of these pieces, and they do such a great job of like curating the pieces and making sure that they're authentic. They have authentication practices, which, you know, you definitely want to have if you're buying a secondhand luxury item. So I definitely recommend both Second Chance and What Goes Around Comes Around for your luxury secondhand shopping. The next one also sells luxury items, but also sells just more retail or vintage items, and they're Nomad Vintage. They are also in the East Village along with L Train. I like to go to L Train, and sometimes I'll stop into Nomad Vintage, and you'll definitely see some great pieces. I've seen great vintage Louis Vuitton luggage there, great jackets and stuff. And because they sell both the luxury secondhand stuff, and they also sell like just vintage stuff, the price points kind of range, you know, on a spectrum. I've seen like Miss 60 jeans there, which, you know, it's so funny that those things are vintage, but they are now, and you know, you can definitely go there and buy some. So they have a great curation. So it's good to have, like, if you have like a fluctuating budget, so you can buy something that's a little cheaper, under $100, and you can also buy something that's well over $1,000, because they have really great secondhand bags there. So yeah, that is Nomad Vintage. The next one on my list is actually probably it's probably like my second favorite on the list. And I think it's my second favorite because, one, they actually have a lot of locations too, and this store is actually not unique to New York. They are in multiple states, so you can just look them up and see where they are. And it's Beacon's Closet. And I love Beacon's Closet because, like Nomad Vintage, the place I just talked about, they have a range of different items. Like, you could find something super cheap, but you can also find some luxury items. And speaking of luxury items, one of the items that I got actually from their I would say Greenwich Village location, because it's on 13th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue. I got I had a really great find, and I just have to show you these because these are my babies. These are some genuine Christian Dior shoes. They are like brogues, and they have like a Swarovski crystal detail around them. I remember when these actually came out. I think they are like 4 or 5 years ago. But I actually got these 2 years ago from Beacon's Closet, and when I saw them, I was like, oh, those are so beautiful. I would love them. They're very masculine in their style, which is funny because I don't have a masculine style, but I love blazers, and blazers are generally masculine. But my shoe game is usually like a high heel. I barely wear sneakers, like I mentioned, but these are definitely a lot more masculine than I'm normally gravitate towards, but I love them. I would pop these on, and I have with a pair of jeans. I pop them on with a skirt. I just love these shoes, and like I said, they are real Christian Dior shoes. You can see the CD there, and Dior on the bottom. I couldn't believe that they were my size. I couldn't believe that they fit me. Like, when I tried them on, I was just so ecstatic that these shoes could even fit me. But these shoes, when I looked them up, retailed for over $1,000. and for well over $1,000. And when I bought them for $300, brand spanking new, never worn, from Beacon's Closet. So that's how, you know, you can, like, that's when I say, like, you can definitely find some really great pieces from there. And that's why Beacon's Closet is one of my favorite. I actually also have like a vintage what brand is that? I can't remember the brand right now, but it's a luxury brand. Wow, why do I want to say Balenciaga, but it's not. No, it's a vintage Givenchy belt that I got from there, and that belt again was like $50, but I'm sure it retailed for well over $200 or $300 or $400. So I got that for $50 from Beacon's Closet, and that's why they're one of my favorites. So that is that. I hope you guys get a chance to check it out. The next one, this shop I actually have never been to, and I need to go to it, but they are great because they curate and have all of their things online. They have a really great Instagram platform, and that's actually how I found them. They're out of Astoria, and the name is Loveday 31. Loveday 31 has such, whoever is curating for them, I think she's mentioned on Instagram sometimes, but whoever does the curation for them does such a great job. I've seen so many pieces that I'm like, this is so beautiful. Obviously you have to make sure that it's your size and stuff like that, but bar nuts, there's such a good curation. They're out of you know, like I said, they're in Astoria, Queens, so not too far from the city if you're in the city or if you're in Brooklyn. But yeah, they are definitely great. And one great thing about them is that you can actually shop their Instagram. So some of the great pieces that you can see online, you can actually shop those through Instagram, which I think is such a great concept. Obviously, buying secondhand or vintage or you know, thrifting, you're getting very, very unique pieces. Like sometimes they're one of a kind and you probably won't find them again. So to have like a curation where you can kind of just see it and then like know that that's amazing and I'm gonna grab it, it's like a game changer. So I definitely highly recommend Loveday if you are looking for that kind of stuff. So yeah, that is it for me today. I thank you guys again for watching these videos. I hope you're enjoying them. Please let me know how you feel about these videos in the comments. Stay tuned, be here all week. So this is Christmas week, so I have some really cool things up my sleeve that I'm going to share with you guys. Again, thanks again for watching, and see you tomorrow.